For those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who do know me but don't recognize me because of my quarantine beard, my name is Michael Olmstead, and I'm Plug and Play's CRO and Global Head of Corporate Partnerships. It's a pleasure to have you all tuning in today to participate in the culmination of our 3-month End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform for the US Hub, which of course is in partnership with the Alliance to End Plastic Waste and its member companies. Today we get to watch our 10 graduating startups present and share what they've accomplished over the last 12 weeks. But first, I wanted to give a quick overview of Plug and Play and our End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform to set context for everyone new that's tuning in. Plug and Play is the largest global innovation platform, which is a really broad and lofty term, but it's intentional because we do a lot of stuff. We currently run over 50 startup accelerator programs across more than 30 cities and 15 countries. We work with over 300 corporate partners across every industry to help fuel their external innovation strategies, and we ourselves invest in hundreds of startups each year through our VC arm. Our goal as a company is to help the world progress through innovation and connection. And for this to happen, we feel innovation should be open to anyone and anywhere. For this reason, we've built a network that extends far beyond Silicon Valley. We are a firm believer there's amazing startups all over the world, but we also know that more than 50% of all venture capital money is deployed from one road in Menlo Park, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. So over the past 15 years, we've built a strong network using our model as the connective tissue between these different hubs around the world. So now our startups have access to new markets, and our corporate partners have visibility into places where they don't have coverage. Our history is a lucky one, and it dates back to the early 90s, where our founder was able to house, invest in, and accelerate companies like Google and Logitech and PayPal. These early beginnings have propelled us into present day, where we are now proud to have over 1,000 portfolio companies, 1% of which have reached over $1 billion in valuation, and 10% of which have reached over 100 million in valuation. Some of these companies include Honey, Dropbox, Lending Club, N20. In addition to the startups, we are proud to serve more than 300 of the world's largest corporations by connecting them with innovative startups that are aligned with their technology priorities and have solutions addressing their key business challenges. We engage our corporate partners and connect them to startups in a variety of ways, one of which is through our themed innovation platforms. These industry-specific programs bring together multiple corporations that represent the value chain in that industry in order to dictate the focus of a 3-month program where our partners can collectively identify solutions and accelerate implementation across the value chain. Collaboration with peers and sometimes competitors is key to our model. And indeed, we are stronger together. Now, today, we elaborate and celebrate the graduation of the first batch of startups from our US Hub for the End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform, which is part of Plug and Play's broader sustainability effort, which is inclusive of Plug and Play circularity. The Alliance to End Plastic Waste is a nonprofit organization partnering with the finance community, government and civil society, including environmental and economic development NGOs, working to make the dream of a world without plastic waste a reality. It is comprised of over 50 of the largest companies across the plastics value chain, from resin suppliers to energy and chemical companies, CPGs, recycling companies, and more. Plug and Play's partnership with the Alliance has led to the End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform, and over the next 2 years, we will run 6 accelerator programs across 3 global hubs: Silicon Valley, Paris, and Singapore. Each program will be a 90-day, highly structured curriculum that will accelerate the highest potential startups tackling plastic waste and will follow a rigorous selection process where a panel of member companies from the Alliance will select 10 startups to join the current program and work closely with the member companies to help end plastic waste once and for all. Activities with the Alliance fall into 2 main categories.
Group A, and Group B. Group A activities are meant to benefit the Alliance as a whole, and Group B activities look to engage individual member companies or smaller groups of companies. I'd like to give a big thank you and a nod of appreciation to the participating panel members and individual representatives for our first US program. Brad Beagle from Berry Plastics, Larry Gross from longtime partner ExxonMobil, Haley Lowry from Dow Chemical, Robert Bernier from Formosa Plastics, and of course, Volker from Tomra. And a huge shout out to our Alliance reps, Joe Machado and Leslie Hushka, for which none of this would be possible. And lastly, to Jacob Dewar, the CEO of the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, and the man leading this amazing and wonderful initiative. Now, for this specific program, we searched far and wide for the best startups innovating across waste collection, waste sorting, mechanical and chemical recycling, upcycling, waste materials exchange, and river pollution preservation. These 10 startups that you see on my screen have impressed our panel members enough to be selected, beating out hundreds of other applications, and over the last 12 weeks, engagements have led to NDAs, scopes of work, and a number of Category A funding applications from the Alliance. These startups have proved exactly why they were picked. So sit back, listen, and enjoy today's presentations. And for those of you who are interested in being a part of the Plug and Play End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform and movement, we're constantly looking to add new corporate partners to the mix. I welcome any of you interested in making a difference to reach out to speak to myself or my team and see how you can get involved. We have big plans ahead, including expansion to new geographies, and of course, putting an end to plastic waste. Lastly, thank you to the whole Plug and Play team, specifically Matthew Claxton, Omer Gozen, for executing every day, and of course, Saeed, for allowing us to pursue our passions and for starting a company that gets you excited to get out of bed every day. Thank you, and again, I'm Michael Olmstead. Enjoy today's presentations.
Thank you, Mike, for that great presentation about Plug and Play and the process that we've been working through with the Alliance to End Plastic Waste over the last 6 months. My name is Matthew Claxton. I'm the Global Director of Sustainability and the one leading the efforts between Plug and Play and the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. And I'll also be your MC for the End Plastic Waste US Expo today. I couldn't be more thrilled to be part of this great program and to be working with everyone through the last 6 months and working presenting these 10 amazing startups for you today. So today we're going to have a few different presentations. We're going to have some opening remarks from Joe Machado, the Alliance's manager for this project. Our keynote speaker will be the Alliance's CEO, Jacob Dewar. And then we have 10 amazing startups and then a fireside chat with Haley Lowry, the Global Director of Sustainability from Dow. And I cannot be more excited to get this started and for you to see these 10 amazing startups. But first, a few items I want to cover with you. If you'd like to get in touch or ask some questions to the startups, there will be a Q&A function in the bottom of your screen. They can go ahead and ask the questions to the startups during their presentations and they will respond to you. If you do not feel comfortable enough to asking the questions to the startups publicly, feel free to use the polls function also below and reply that you would like an introduction to the startup, and Plug and Play will be making those in the upcoming weeks after this event. So with that, I'd like to introduce Joe Machado to give some remarks about the program and how it's been working with Plug and Play. Take it away, Joe.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Machado. I'm with the Alliance to End Plastics Waste Projects Organization. And one of the most privileged activities I have with the Alliance is to lead the collaboration that we have with Plug and Play. I think that the Alliance and Plug and Play share a common understanding and view of the importance of innovation and entrepreneurship in solving the global plastics waste challenge, and a common commitment to addressing that challenge in a meaningful way. I am absolutely delighted with the quality of the first batch of startups that we have in our first Silicon Valley End Plastics Waste Innovation Platform batch. and am delighted that we are here at the Expo Day after 90 days of working with these startups that cross the value chain from new material ideas through novel means of sorting plastics and into novel applications of post-consumer recyclate across the value chain, as similar to the member companies in the Alliance. And I've been absolutely delighted with the level of energy and participation and interest across the 45 member companies in the Alliance to engage with these startups and really take a very close look at what the plug and play collaboration is producing in terms of innovative solutions to plastics waste. And I am completely impressed increasingly by the commitment and the creativity of the plug and play team in not only finding a tremendous array of startups to engage with and convening them, but to do it in the midst of a global pandemic outbreak that has made the conventional ways of doing things impossible, and switching seamlessly to a virtual platform that's been successful and has had a very high level of participation. So I really want to say congratulations to our first batch of startups. I'm certainly going to do everything that I'm able to help them be successful in having the impact they want to have in reducing plastics waste. I want to thank everybody who's participating in this Expo Day from our member companies and from outside our organization to engage with these startups and look for opportunities and ideas. And I wish luck to all of the startups who are participating today, and I look forward to future batches in Paris and in Singapore. And I think together we're going to find tremendous opportunity and very significant ways of reducing plastics waste by leveraging innovation, leveraging new ideas, leveraging entrepreneurship towards this challenge. So thanks very much, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the day. I certainly plan to.
Thank you so much for those wonderful remarks, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you over the last 6 months and the other panel members. We could not be more excited about this program and all the things that we're able to do together, not only in this hub, but in our Paris and Singapore hub to come. So with that, I'd love to introduce our keynote speaker for the event. This is the Alliance's CEO. He's also a former member of the UN Environmental Group and has been behind some phenomenal pieces of legislation and actions that the UN has done to make our environment much more sustainable. So with that, I'd like to introduce Jacob Duer. Jacob?
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Duer and it's a great pleasure for me to speak to you today. First of all, I want to thank the Plug and Play End Plastic Waste Innovation Platform for welcoming me back to speak after I spoke at the Selection Day event in Paris. At that time, I had the opportunity to present to a group of innovators who were on their road to the accelerator program. And today I'm equally excited to represent the Alliance to End Plastic Waste to connect with you as a group that is almost at the completion of your journey. Although that you may not be there yet, I know that many of you, at least some of you, already on a journey to connect with investors and companies on the solutions that will help end plastic waste in the environment. What you have accomplished has made me think of something I read just a few weeks ago. After one of these long days of video calls, something that I think we're all experiencing these days, was a quote from Einstein that caught my attention, and it said something along the lines of, "The one who follows the crowd will usually get no further than the crowd. The one who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever been." And I wanted to share this quote with you because it reminds me of what you founders are made of. It would be easy to think of founders like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates who have gone on to become great entrepreneurs and developed and built big businesses because they believed in the road less traveled. But deeper than that, I see two qualities that you have. First is this one of around deep and personal relationship with your work. It is that passion that has meant countless hours and sleepless nights, I'm sure, working with and being supported by team members to ensure the the success of your project, exactly as I trust that our partnership with Plug and Play has supported you. The second quality is your conviction. It's that conviction that pushes forward the right idea to take shape at the right time. At the last Plug and Play Selection Day session where I spoke, I talked about the birth of e-commerce in China during the SARS pandemic. And it's in that same frame of reference that I want to highlight that the solutions that you have created sits at the heart of a challenge at a time when the world needs it the most. Of course, I wished we could have worked with innovators like yourself 10 years ago or 20 years ago on the issue of plastic waste, but that was not the case. But that doesn't mean that it's too late. It's never too late. However, what it does mean, however, is that your ideas and your vision needs to be even bigger and bolder because of the magnitude of the challenge that we are facing. Today, the Alliance is still a very young organization. In 2018, over a dozen companies came together because they wanted to address exactly these challenges. And they knew also that no one company could do this alone. So just a year ago, the Alliance to End Plastic Waste was formed. And since then, we have been evolving our strategy of what it means to create real impactful solutions to end plastic waste in the environment. As we work on, it's very clear for us that innovation is going to be the new normal. A challenge of great magnitude, such as plastic waste, will need people from all sectors, from all areas to develop, to deploy and accelerate these solutions that we are looking at. This means that we, the Alliance, must not only champion, but we must be the champion or among the champions of these solutions. So we have brought together 50 companies and we need them along with us on the journey. I've gone through the list of finalists and I have to be very honest, you are really impressive. The solutions that you are bringing forth, from using artificial intelligence to leveraging basic human behavior to rethinking the ways of tackling plastic waste, are inspiring and it's empowering. From design to end markets, from collection to processing, from company participation to consumer engagement. The work that we have seen from all of you are the areas that we as an Alliance are committed to. From an infrastructure perspective, companies like AMP Robotics and Clean Robotics, and as well as Arqlite and Grey Parrot, you're all using robotic technology together with artificial intelligence. It's all about new ways of better collecting, managing, sorting our plastic waste, addressing one of the biggest challenges in moving towards a circular economy. Then there are companies like Upcycling Plastic and ByFusion, with solutions to support companies and local communities to become plastic waste free, presenting solutions and ideas around using plastic waste to make 100% recyclable replastic products. Then there are the innovative approaches to education and cleanup priorities for the Alliance, like the bubble screen created by the Great Bubble Barrier that prevents plastic from flowing into oceans. And Literati is what I think very exciting app that educates through collaboration and mapping of waste in communities. And some of you are thinking about linking consumers and suppliers of recycled plastic waste like Oceanworks and Circular Rise. I want to say again how grateful, and I really mean it, we are for this community to rally behind this program. It's your passion, it's your conviction that can move mountains and make a real difference. If it is you coming together under the Plug and Play program, then I know that we will forge ahead in these times. And I'm sure that many of you have stories and experiences that you would like to share as you navigate through these difficult times. And I have to say, I do look forward to hopefully meeting you in person one day. From Silicon Valley to Paris and Singapore, we want to continue working with you. We want to connect you to our members. We want to make sure that you get connected to the biggest and most innovative companies in the world. We want to connect you to them for investment opportunities, but equally much for engineering support to develop, deploy, and scale your solutions. This is why the Alliance exists. We are uniting leaders. We are uniting them with innovators and businesses, industries, governments, and other not-for-profit organizations to accelerate the pace of ending plastic waste in the environment. Ultimately, we want to create circular economies and we want to secure the future of our communities everywhere. Ending plastic waste in the environment is a long journey. We know that, but we know also that there is an end. But we need strong leadership and we need new ideas. On behalf of the Alliance, congratulations to everyone who has reached this point in the program. I hope you have had an amazing time. Until we meet, stay well and be safe, but most of all, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob, for those wonderful remarks. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you and your team over the last 6 months, and I cannot wait for our continued engagement together and finding the greatest solutions out in the world and bringing everyone together onto one platform to really solve our plastic waste crisis. So with that, actually, I'd like to announce that our CEO, Saeed Hamidi, will be having a fireside chat with Jacob very soon, and we'll be sending out the details for that after this event today. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and get started with our 10 amazing startups that we have. And just to remind everyone, if you'd like to ask a question to the startup, please use the Q&A function below. If you'd like an introduction to the startup after today's event, please use the poll function, and we'll be introducing those startups in the weeks to come after this event. So with that, I'd like to take us to our first startup, Rick from Continuous Materials, whose company is taking hard to recycle plastic waste and helping provide the building materials of our future. Take it away, Rick.
Hello, I'm Rick Cochran, Senior Vice President of Business Development for Continuous Materials. I'm excited to be here today to tell you about our company and the impact we're trying to make into the plastic waste problem. The last 60 days have seen changes we never would have expected, but one thing that's not changing is we need to find solutions for the waste that we've created. That's what we're doing at Continuous today at scale. It's hard to believe, but every year 45 million tons of paper and plastic waste still make their way to landfills in the US. We're mining that material to make a world-class roofing product that we call Everboard. I'd like to share with you a short video of our facility in Philadelphia. In the short time we've been producing Everboard, we've already diverted over 3 million pounds of plastic from landfills. Our boards are moving all over the country, and we've installed a lot of square feet. Later this year, we'll be breaking ground on our first full-scale facility in Pennsylvania. That facility alone will divert over 96 million pounds of plastic from landfills. It'll put us into world-class capacity for board making that'll allow us to enter new markets in new parts of the world. Here's a photograph of the largest roof we've done so far. The impact of the roof, impressive. What's even more impressive is we just received our largest order that will be 5 times this big and start being installed later this fall. We've shared with you information on how impactful the product is on removing materials from the landfill stream. But the key is we have a circular product. After its 20-year life, we'll be able to take it back and turn it right back into the next roof cover board. We couldn't have made these things happen without a great team. Here you see some of the companies that our management members have come from. We've married 2 big industries, building products and the waste industry. We're fortunate to have great private equity sponsorship in addition to a key strategic investor, Waste Management. We know how to take things to scale. We're able to take a wide variety of materials destined for landfill and turn them into our finished product, Everboard. We're fortunate with a strong IP suite in place now and more coming in the future. The reception to our product in the marketplace has been frankly amazing. We've already got an OEM relationship with the largest roof supplier in North America, Carlisle. They chose us because of the superior performance of our board in the areas that are key to their customers being satisfied with a great product. Here you see that we've been able to sell the product all over the country, and we continue to grow significantly. That's why we're building the new plant that'll divert more than 240 million pounds of material from landfill. But most importantly, we're totally sold out, so we have to respond. As I wrap up the presentation, we have 3 simple asks. First, if your company is interested in investing in technologies and solutions at scale that can make a difference in the global plastics issue, we want to meet as soon as possible. If you've been inspired by what we've shown in the product we're making currently, please reach out to us. We want to talk to you about how you can become a continuous Everboard customer. And lastly, if it's been interesting and intriguing, we're on all the social media outlets. Please reach out to us on whatever one's most convenient for you. On behalf of all my colleagues at Continuous, thank you for your time today. We look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thanks for that great presentation, Rick. It's been absolutely great working with your company and seeing the technology that you created in the Everboard and how it's working and really scaling up in the US and soon around the world. So with that, I'd love to kick it off to our next startup, whose idea for this mobile application came from his 4-year-old daughter. So with that, I'd like to welcome Jeff from Literati. Jeff?
When was the last time you picked up a piece of litter? What difference would it make? This tiny decision can mean more than you think. One turns into many, and many turns into more than you could ever imagine. It can create change. A community of people cleaning the planet, one piece at a time. What are you going to do?
I'm Jeff Kirshner, founder and CEO of Literati. We've built a global litter intelligence platform empowering anyone to collect litter, generate data, and create an impact. It's a platform powered by people, a community which spans 165 countries and who have already cataloged and collected over 5 million pieces. We start with a photo. Our mobile application identifies who picked up what, where, and when. Image recognition models identify the objects, materials, and brands. As people take photos, they feed our database, where we turn raw information into intelligence. Our technology enables us to inform policy, influence packaging, and inspire personal responsibility. This creates 2 outcomes: the ability to create impact and a business model. We spent the last 18 months on a customer discovery journey, and we learned that NGOs, schools, brands, and cities all want to contribute to and consume from the platform. Those conversations have converted into $300,000 of revenue. In just the last 3 months, we've launched a self-service model, seen an increased traction with cities, and we now see them as the target customer that unlocks a repeatable business model which can scale. We've also added 8,000 new community members and picked up an additional 600,000 pieces. Just last week, our data was used to change national policy in the Netherlands. That same community also cataloged and collected 50,000 Kinetter balls, a plastic firework. And as a result, leading retailers have now taken them off the shelves, ensuring plastic fragments no longer harm the Dutch environment. This is the power of people. In San Francisco, our platform was used as a research tool to identify the percentage of cigarette litter. The resulting data now generates $4 million in annual tax revenue for the city to clean itself up. When it comes to the Alliance, Literati aligns with all 4 pillars. Innovation. We're putting technology in the hands of people around the planet. Infrastructure. Our platform can engage and reward litter pickers anywhere in the world, while the data can assist in investment decisions made by the Alliance. We're already in hundreds of schools, and when it comes to cleaning up, we empower people to make a lasting impact. Like the problem we're solving, our team is both global and diverse. We're made up of serial entrepreneurs and seasoned executives. We've experienced failure, enjoyed success, and believe we're currently building something the world desperately deserves. We are backed by the National Science Foundation and leading angel investors. Now, we're looking to close our seed round with a $1 million investment. That money will be used specifically to bolster our platform for growing the community and our commercial pipeline. The $1 million investment will also be matched by the National Science Foundation with a non-dilutive grant for an additional $500,000. Doesn't matter if you're a student or scientist, whether you clean up on the land, while riding a bike, or even in the ocean. You can be from Nova Scotia, North Carolina, or New Delhi. Literati is a platform for everyone. There's a whole planet to clean, and we're just getting started. Join us.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for that inspirational presentation that you gave. I absolutely have loved working with you and your team over the last 90 days and really enjoyed using the Literati app. So I'd like to actually take this time for everyone to go ahead, download this app, and just go out and start using it the best you can. But please be safe when you do. So with that, I'd love to pass it on to our next startup from Robotics, Chris Worth, whose team is working on tackling the difficult task of sorting out plastic waste as it goes into landfills. Take it away, Chris.
Hello, my name is Chris Worth, and I'm the VP of Marketing and Business Development for Robotics. I'm very grateful to present at Plug and Play Spring Sustainability Summit and to participate in the AEPW program. Robotics was founded to solve some of the fundamental bottlenecks of recycling by using robotics and artificial intelligence. We're using technology to modernize recycling and to transform its economics. We're lowering processing costs, creating higher value commodities, and increasing recycling rates, all with the goal to enable a world without waste. While the battle continues with a focus on eliminating waste and creating a circular economy, we're now taking on the widespread disruption of the recycling business caused by COVID-19 and the knock-on effect to our supply chain and our entire economy. The waste management and recycling sector faces many challenges. The economics of recycling is one of the biggest. For decades, sorting has been done by hand, despite incredibly high turnover and chronic labor shortages. This is regardless of whether unemployment is high or low. And the net effect is that recycling costs have been historically high, recovered material quality is often poor, and recycling rates tend to be low. Over the last couple of years, global recycling commodity markets have structurally changed due to Asia's strict material quality standards. As a result, the recycling industry has struggled to comply and compete due to its legacy way of recovering recyclables. And that was before the pandemic. The virus has compounded these long-standing problems, causing waste management businesses to struggle even more with safety, operations, and cost. Manual sortation of waste is not conducive to social distancing. Ensuring workplace safety and PPE in a MRF is incredibly difficult due to the nature of the operation. Worker shortages are getting worse for a job that already had severe problems being understaffed before the pandemic. And this is causing recycling facilities to suspend operations and close. This means tons upon tons of recyclables are going straight to landfill, and millions of dollars worth of raw material for our supply chain are ending up there as well. Beyond tackling the environmental urgency for zero waste, AMP's technology is keeping workers safe, businesses operational, and essential public services going. This trend is happening before the virus and is now accelerating the speed and urgency of technology adoption and overall market transformation. Adding to that, our waste streams have dramatically and suddenly shifted due to the changes in consumption patterns caused by shelter in place from the virus. Demand for cardboard has skyrocketed. Paper supplies are limited as toilet paper and tissues fly off the shelves. Just a couple months ago, recycling businesses could barely give away recovered fiber. Now they can't supply enough of it to the commodity markets. And single-use plastics have jetted back in demand, creating complex waste streams with even more contamination. And all this is happening against a backdrop while urgent needs for critical supplies are being blocked by supply chain interruptions and raw material shortages. Our vision for a modern, resilient, and sustainable recycling infrastructure has been elevated to an even higher level of urgency. And our solution to meet these compounding challenges is based on the integrated application of computer vision, AI, and robotics. Our AI-driven robotic system is called AMP Cortex. AMP's computer vision system, the eyes, identifies material as it comes down a conveyor to be picked and sorted just like a human would. The brain, our AI platform called AMP Neuron, converts these images into data, capturing and categorizing everything that it recognizes. The neuron guides a Delta-style robot to pick and place the material to be recycled. All this happening at superhuman speed with consistent precision and extremely high accuracy. AMP Neuron uses visual attributes to recognize material, color, texture, size, shape, labels, logos, SKUs, and brands, just like you would if you were sorting trash to find recyclables. Using deep learning, our platform gets smarter and smarter and even more accurate in its identification as time goes on. Then our neural networks further enrich Neuron's data set, and its intelligence just compounds as it learns from our fleet of deployed systems. This means it learns from one of our systems operating in Texas, with another one in Northern California and another in Southern California, as well as one in New York and Florida and Colorado. The list goes on. Neuron can identify material even though it might be smashed, folded, or dirty, or even piled together. It can pick material where only a little corner is visible, and it can use packaging attributes as part of its labeling algorithms. Excuse me. It can identify specific brands of beverages, cereal, yogurt, detergent, and for example, it can identify, we'll say, nothing but Starbucks cups and separate those into its own category, even its own micro commodity, if you will. This gives recycling facilities unlimited flexibility in deciding what they want to sort. This creates opportunities to drive increasing amounts of recycled feedstock into our circular economy and overall supply chain. And this data and this ability also can encourage and help align consumer packaged goods companies and brands as they seek to get more information about recycled content, and also the influence on their own product design. We have over 60 systems deployed globally, and as an essential business and an essential industry, we're actively installing in compliance with strict safety protocols in spite of the virus. Market demand is very high and it's accelerating fast. Our revenue growth continues to compound quarterly, and while this is just fulfilling what our investment thesis was to begin with, we know that this will continue to accelerate during these times and will continue to grow based on the demand for technology and automation. We create tremendous value for our customers. We help them to increase revenue, lower costs, improve safety, and become more operationally efficient. But for AMP, creating value for our customer also means designing solutions that can be easily integrated into existing operations. Modular design is crucial to help recycling businesses modernize quickly without major retrofits and downtime. Our goal is to install systems in 48 hours, meaning a system goes in over a weekend, and our customer is up and running on Monday morning. This is a deployment at a facility in Florida called SSR, where we have 14 of our robots in one single facility. This is not just the largest deployment of robotics for AMP, but it is for overall for recycling in the world. Our systems are on fiber lines, container lines, quality control lines, and residual lines. They sort at speeds 2 to 3 times faster than humanly possible, and they're capable of operating 24/7 if they had to. Their accuracy is upwards of 99% or more, ensuring high purity rates of recovered recyclables for resale. With this, worker safety and worker shortages are no longer an issue. Not only does it take significantly less people to run a facility that's automated by AMP's technology, just by the nature of design, as far as the layout of the facility and robotics, it creates natural social distancing to prevent worker safety issues. And then on top of that, the agility of AI allows a quick pivot when material stream changes and volume changes and capacity needs are there without little or no human intervention. With AI, we digitize the waste stream and we create data transparency where there has historically been little. We make data available to our customers via an online data visualization tool and mobile alert system. Customers use it to measure the value they've captured or lost. They monitor activity, measure performance, draw insights on material composition, and they measure purity levels of recovered material bales. Our online dashboard also notifies them of hazards in the material stream or any interruptions along the line so they can operate efficiently. And in spite of COVID, time and time again, we're hearing from our customers about how they're keeping their employees safe, remaining operational, continuing services to the public, and maintaining a steady revenue stream for their business. A little bit more about AMP. We were founded in 2015 by our CEO, Dr. Matanya Horowitz. We're located outside of Boulder, Colorado. We actually have 2 locations, and we recently opened up expanded manufacturing facility as well. In fall 2019, Sequoia Capital led our $16 million Series A round with Sidewalk Infrastructure Partners, an Alphabet company, along with Closed Loop Partners and Congruent Ventures. We have over 60 employees and are actively hiring across our business. We're a team of scientists, engineers, operators, startup veterans, and professionals that are committed to changing the way we recycle and ultimately changing the way we handle material. We're post-revenue, we're in full commercial production, and we have customers across America, Canada, Japan, and soon in Europe. We apply AI and robotics across multiple verticals and countless material types, whether it's fiber, plastics, metals, you name it. And we're also active and apply our technology for construction and demolition debris and recovery, as well as electronic waste. Last month, we celebrated a major recycling technology milestone with AMP picking our 1 billionth piece of material over the last 12 months. The volume's impressive, but the fact that we know that number and can break it down by material category, form factor, and even attributes, that validates our original business vision for automation and the impact to enable a world without waste. Our commitment is to innovation, and that is continuing, and we're ready for the next 10 billion pieces of materials that we pick, and that it will accelerate more and more and more as we continue to expand. Our vision for a modern, resilient, and sustainable recycling infrastructure has elevated to a new level. At AMP, we're making recycling economically sustainable so it can better serve our society, our economy, and our world. We're tackling problems on a mass industrial level. There's societal problems, there are economic problems, and there are environmental problems. And at AMP, we're just getting started, and we're looking for other corporate strategics that want to join us in changing everything we possibly can to better our environment and supply chain. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Chris. It's been absolutely great to see how your company has grown, not only in the last 3 months, but actually in the last year since we've been working together. So with that, I'd love to pass it off to our next startup, Kiverdi, who is fighting the climate crisis with technology that recycles carbon to address global issues like sustainable food production and the ocean's plastics problem. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Lisa Dyson. I am the CEO of Kiverdi, and I'm excited to talk to you about one of our technical solutions, one that we call reverse plastics. The problem is that by 2050, it is projected that there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. This is a problem. We are on a mission to help solve that problem, and in particular to help end plastic waste through carbon transformation. The technology that we've developed was inspired by work done by NASA during the space program, where they contemplated how do you recycle carbon on long space journeys in aircraft, spacecraft that is. We've developed a proprietary way to take a number of different carbon inputs and recycle them into valuable products. The reverse plastics process itself would start like this. You begin with plastic material, whether it's packaging material or textiles. And then through a partial combustion process, that material will be broken into its fundamental carbon and hydrogen building blocks, leveraging partner technology. Once we have the carbon and hydrogen building blocks, we feed them into a proprietary bioprocess where biocatalysts convert the carbon and the hydrogen into new molecules. And the molecules that they can make are numerous. We can make products, everything from biopolymers and beyond. In the case of making a biopolymer, you are able to then use that as a building block for new packaging material and new textiles. And in that way, you can continue to recycle the packaging material and textiles using this process, or if it ends up in the environment, it would biodegrade. So you can go from a non-biodegradable material to a biodegradable material with this process. What else can be made with reverse plastics? Well, you can make biofertilizers or biostimulants. And in that case, you're able to make a product that can be used to increase crop yields and make crops more resilient to high stress environments like droughts. That's beneficial for farmers. Or you can make oils like a palm oil replacement or lemon oil components, a number of different types of oils that can be used to make consumer products and used to make industrial goods. You can then make monomers and other intermediates to make consumer products and industrial goods. And this way you can create a strong business case to start off with mixed inputs that don't require sorting in some cases, leveraging partner technology, and more importantly, create high value products on the back end to make a strong economic business case to take plastic inputs and create valuable goods from them. We have a number of patents pending or granted across different geographies, and our IP really is around the use of gases by a proprietary bioprocess that involves bioreactor design as well as biocatalysts to then make a suite of products. We're privileged to have a great team working on this at Kiverdi, and also to have a number of different partners, from the Lawrence Berkeley National Labs to InRail and Oak Ridge, and then also to receive funding from a number of sources. Of course, our investors, but also government funding from the U.S. Department of Energy, from European governments like the Energy Commission, the European Commission, as well as Canadian governments. One of the case studies, a partnering case study, and we do have a strong partnership model, is a project that is currently being deployed in Europe, where there's 13 organizations that have really come together to try to remake a post-consumer supply chain and take post-consumer inputs and then create new outputs from that. And we're taking the plastic and cellulosic components of post-consumer products and then turning them into biodegradable polymers, and we're also turning them into biostimulants for agriculture. With this type of technology, with our reverse plastics technology, we really are focusing on how do you incentivize the world's really different organizations, different governmental bodies, and different locations throughout the world to actually collect waste and then take that waste and then turn it into value. And that's the way that you create these business cases. And this incentive is by creating the opportunity to create value from that input. And so this has definite benefits for industry, benefits for business, but more importantly, will in the long run benefit our planet as we really seek to end plastic waste and be a benefit to our progeny. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you so much for that great presentation. As a reminder to everyone, please feel free to type in your questions to the startups during their presentations in the Q&A function below. And if you want to get in touch with these startups, please feel free to use the polls pop-up and let us know if you'd like an introduction, and we're more than happy to facilitate that in the weeks to come. So with that, I'd love to introduce our next startup, Arqlite, whose founder, Sebastian, is already solving the problem of plastic waste and is now installing his solutions in California as a first step to scaling his solutions globally. Take it away, Sebastian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sebastian, and I'm the founder and CEO of Arqlite. At this point, there's no need to dive into details about the problem plastics are generating around the world, but I do need and want to focus on one figure, and it's that more than 50% of all plastics are considered as unrecyclables. So at Arqlite, we've developed a new technology that can recycle all kinds of plastics: laminated, aluminized, degraded, film, mixed, all. And we can do that at a competitive cost, even to landfill tipping fees. So we have developed a large-scale solution for a large-scale problem. This is the first commodity ever made 100% from mixed plastic waste, and we call it Arqlite Smart Gravel. And when do you want to use it? Well, we can use the gravel to produce light concretes in the construction industry, to produce lighter and better precast elements in the urban design industry, and also to make better drainage systems for landscaping and home gardening. Of course, this is an eco-friendly product, but it's also highly efficient. It's inert, durable, flexible, 3 times lighter, and 10 times better insulator than mineral gravel. So far, we got a lot of traction on the press because we are a great story to tell, with big brands that are not only working with Arqlite, but also some of them like Cemex and Coca-Cola that have invested in our Series A, becoming strategic partners. Also, many global awards that are showing and proving the impact and also the scalability of the project. But on top of that, in our facility in Argentina, we are selling every ton of gravel we produce. We've got a double revenue model where we charge big plastic waste generators a competitive price to what they're actually paying to landfill the plastics, and then we sell the gravel to these different markets. The proportion is about 80% of the revenue coming from gravel sales and 20% from upcycling. The gross margin is about 60%. Here you can see the net profit for a 1,500 tons a month facility, which is the one we're currently installing in Santa Ana. We've got a passion-driven team, but also highly skilled. Professor Gaurav from UCLA, an expert in concrete, he's leading our R&D department. Boji and Cynthia working on business development and communications. Nicholas, he's our COO, and Catherine, our CFO. I'm leading the team with my background being environmental consultancy and marketing. Everything started in 2015 with a homemade piece of ground. Now in 2020, we are installing our first large-scale facility in California, 1,500 tons a month of capacity, and it will be up and running in a couple of months. For next year, we have already sold a license that will be operated by Cemex in France, and we are already planning the opening of another 2 self-owned facilities. This combined model of self-owned facilities and licenses will be continued over the time. So we are already solving the problem of plastic waste. How can you help? We're still looking to finalize our Series A. We're also looking for strategic partners and to begin pilots in the US, Latin America, and Europe. I believe with the Alliance, we'll be able to scale our impact globally. So if you have any questions, please email me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that great presentation, Sebastian. It's really exciting to see the progress that your company has made over the last 3 months and how you're able to take this very hard to recycle plastic waste and to turn it into something of such value for everyone around the world. So with that, that actually reaches our halfway point of our event. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be back with the remaining startups in a fireside chat with Dow's Haley Lowry. And we'll be back soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I know it was a quick break, but we just were so excited to showcase these very innovative solutions and startups. And again, please feel free to email myself or any of the startups that you see today if you'd like to learn more about them or engage with them. And we highly encourage everyone to really think about how they can work with these startups. These are very new and exciting solutions, and it's really going to take all of us coming together in order to solve this plastic waste crisis. So with that, I'd like to keep going and go into our next startup, who is using curbside recycling and turning plastic waste into hockey pucks. So I'd like to introduce David from Obago. Take it away, David.
Hi, I'm Dave New, founder of Obago Recycling. Obago diverts plastic bag and film waste from the waste stream and into the recycling stream. Bags and film are very difficult to sort at material recovery facilities. They tend to jam up the machinery and cause costly shutdowns, or they contaminate the other commodity streams, particularly fiber. Because of this, plastic bags and film are banned from almost all curbside recycling programs. Our solution is to provide a simple device that changes the shape of plastic bags and film into a rigid puck, which is an optimal shape for recycling. Importantly, the Obago device does not melt the plastic into a solid. It carefully compresses and encapsulates the bags so any contaminants can be removed later in the downstream recycling process. Obago is working to make reality a day when consumers will be able to densify their plastic bags and film in the comfort and convenience of their home, and when the pucks will be collected curbside and sorted economically in material recovery facilities, when this valuable material will be reprocessed into post-consumer resin and finally manufactured into new recyclable products which our customers can enjoy. Obago is designed for the kitchen, so when you finish a loaf of bread or finish some fresh vegetables or unwrap some paper products, you can easily recycle the plastic packaging rather than throw it away. Obago will retail for $149. The opportunity for lower prices when manufactured at scale is a possibility. The impact on plastic waste will be significant. Consider this: 150 devices deployed in households, conservatively making 1 puck per week each, will divert 1 ton of plastic film each year. Our initial target customer is the upper income household, busy professionals looking for convenience. Next, we'll expand to a broader range of consumers through other channels with a lower price point. And almost every business, school, hospital, government, and foreign country is a potential target market. Obago will sell product directly from our e-commerce website through bulk sales to municipalities and eventually through online and brick and mortar retailers. Plastic film waste is a big problem and it requires an all-of-the-above approach. We see ourselves complementing the other initiatives currently available to help consumers recycle their plastic bags and film. Obago has been working hard to gain exposure in the community. We've been participating in Green Fests and Earth Days, speaking at conferences, exhibiting at trade shows, pitching at green tech events, and participating in accelerators. Right now, we are working to sign up as many towns as possible within a radius of Boston to participate in a pilot program where we can validate our recycling solution. If we can obtain the funding we need, we hope to be shipping product in about 12 months in coordination with the launch of our pilot test. Where we are today, Obago needs the support of the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, both the connections it can provide with its member and affiliated organizations, but most importantly, financial support to help get our solution over the finish line through to commercialization, as well as to support our pilot program. Together, we will end the waste of plastic bags and packaging film. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, David. With that, we'd like to turn it over to our next startup, who has spent a lot of time getting their hands dirty to train their AI. I'd like to welcome Charles from Clean Robotics. Take it away, Charles.
Human beings get confused about what's recyclable. Right now, only about 20% of what goes into your recycling bin winds up actually being recycled.
If you've ever gone to a place that has an array of waste receptacles, you've had the experience of trying to figure out where to put your item of waste. That confusion at the point of disposal causes contamination. We make a system called TrashBot that uses AI, computer vision, and robotics to detect waste as you throw it away.
We take the decision that you have when you're throwing away an item into recycling or landfill, and we automate that.
Clean robotics, we think that you really have to sort accurately as early as possible so that the industry can then recover as much value as possible.
Using it is a lot like using a normal waste receptacle. You just approach it like you would any other waste station, deposit your item of waste inside. At that point, the AI detects and categorizes that item of waste, and then the robotic component just drops it into the correct place. We have a patent on this, and it broadly covers robotic waste bins. Our system is able to collect data on every item of waste. There's a few things that are important. Number one, the AI gets better over time. Our data is also able to provide waste and sustainability insights with a level of granularity not possible through other means. And this can help cities, facilities, recyclers, regulators close the loop on accountability. And it also allows us to craft custom waste-specific educational content for the specific types of contaminants we see in a given location. This is an example of data-driven educational content we can design based on the specific types of contamination that we see. And now you're thinking this robot sounds amazing. How much does it cost? I bet it costs a fortune. Well, actually, we're price competitive with standard waste stations that you see here, for example, at the Denver airport. This set costs $3,000 a set, and they have 250 stations like this throughout the airport. So when they bought these, they spent $750,000 on just shiny metal tubing. You compare these to what TrashBot can do, it's kind of a no-brainer. We have 14 deployments. We're targeting public-facing facilities, airports, convention centers, arenas, music venues, and malls, as well as office spaces. In our pipeline, we have enough for over 450 TrashBots. That's over 2.2 million over the next 6 to 9 months. To go to market, we are really focused on brokers, haulers, as well as building our own sales affiliate network and using our own direct sales efforts. Here are examples of pilots with key players in the waste industry that we have in the pipeline, as well as the distribution deals that we already have. So, in general, for your typical facility, we believe that we can save 50% or more in waste-related expenses. As I mentioned, I'm Charles Yap, co-founder of Clean Robotics. My background is in social entrepreneurship. This is my fourth social venture. Tanner Cook, our VP of engineering, has a background in mechanical engineering, nanotechnology, nuclear engineering, and software development. To date, we've raised over $1 million from investors, like the ones you see here. One of the things we're most proud of is the actual quantifiable impact of our technology. 2 TrashBots deployed in a stadium sorted over 30,000 items with much greater accuracy than the public can achieve. And that in turn saved 5 tons of CO2 from being emitted. And that is the equivalent of taking 1 fossil fuel burning car off the road. Well, we're rolling out some new products this year. We just announced 2 additional products on Earth Day. We believe that we can triple the amount of recyclables that are recovered in the United States. And in terms of carbon impact, that would be the equivalent of removing 80 million fossil fuel burning cars from the road just from improved accuracy at the point of disposal. Some asks, we're raising capital and looking for strategic partners. If your company has very aggressive zero waste goals, we would love to have you as a customer as well. We believe that waste is fundamentally a human problem. AI and robotics can really address this problem for humanity in a way that hasn't been possible up to now. We believe that's a future worth fighting for.
Thanks so much for that great presentation, Charles. And again, as a reminder to everyone, please feel free to use the Q&A function below in order to ask a question to these startups and they'll respond with their answers. Or if you'd like an introduction to the startups afterwards, please use the poll function that pops up on your screen and we're happy to facilitate an introduction afterwards. So next up, I'd love to introduce Rob from Oceanworks, who has a startup that's creating a global marketplace for recycled plastic material. So let's please welcome Rob. Take it away, Rob.
Hello, my name is Rob Iannelli, and I am the founder and president of Oceanworks, the trusted source for recycled plastics. The recycled plastic market is disorganized and chaotic. When it comes to sourcing recycled plastics, there are a number of challenges to overcome. The result is an inefficient system that does not meet the needs of growing recycled plastic demand, and furthermore, without a sensible solution, hundreds of millions of tons of plastic will continue to go to waste each year. Understanding the drivers behind the growth of the plastic pollution crisis, we built a technology-forward solution for discovering and purchasing recycled plastics. Our platform provides customers immediate access to compare and purchase sample material and bulk tonnage from Oceanworks network suppliers around the world. Oceanworks customers go to market with the confidence that their materials are authentic and have the ability to trace them through the supply chain in real time. During our journey, we learned that processors dislike the tedious nature of sampling their material and prefer to focus on tonnage. On the flip side, buyers need to sample first to qualify a material, and the faster they sample, the sooner they can purchase tonnage. Seeing the gap, we built a rapid sampling distribution model that provides simple, fast, and trusted sourcing from our distribution centers. We've built a global network of qualified suppliers that delivers material capacity, redundancy, and competitive pricing. All Oceanworks suppliers adhere to our proprietary qualification and track and trace guidelines, which include third-party testing. Customers start at our online marketplace where they can immediately sample a wide and expanding range of materials. Once customers move to production, we support them through launch with compliance documentation, track and trace logistics, and marketing assets. By de-risking recycled plastic, we make it more accessible for buyers. This means more business for our supplier network, which keeps plastics in the circular economy and has a direct impact on achieving the Alliance goal of ending plastic waste in the environment. Despite challenging times, we are growing. Since the platform launched in October 2019, we have processed hundreds of sample orders with an average order size of $1,850. Our supplier network continues to grow, and we recently launched food-grade recycled plastics and fabric. Most recently, our sourcing partnership with YKK was announced with the debut of their Nautilon zipper utilizing materials sourced via Oceanworks. Customers need to know the recycled plastic is both authentic and available at volume. Looking at alternative offerings, Oceanworks is the only complete solution. Niche recycled ocean plastic offerings emphasize impact metrics and authenticity, but are not available at scale. Processors and distributors can deliver capacity and competitive pricing, but must be individually vetted in hard-to-reach geographies. Our business has grown and so has our team. That is no coincidence. Driving results is a dedicated and innovative team with venture-backed experience, balanced with a well-versed board of directors and supported by forward-thinking legal counsel. We're poised for significant growth as a result. We've raised $2.1 million on a safe note, and now that we have achieved product market fit, we're raising a Series A. Funds will be dedicated to our technology backend, expanding our sales team, and most importantly, extending our supplier network. So we welcome you to join us and see plastic differently. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that great presentation, Rob. It's really exciting to see the work that you and your team are doing. And please, if anyone has any questions or would like to learn more about these startups, don't hesitate to reach out to them or to myself so we can make an introduction. So with that, I'd like to pass it off to our next startup, who is powering his farm equipment using recycled plastic that he's turned into fuel. So I'd like to welcome Brian from Resynergy. Take it away, Brian.
Hello, this is Brian Bauer, co-founder and CEO of Resynergy. Resynergy makes systems that take waste plastic and convert that to diesel fuel, as well as other valuable products. What we envision is being able to deploy these systems anywhere in the world and at any scale. What we do first is we chip plastic, and then we use microwave technology to quickly gasify and then condense into valuable fuels. The key to the solution is a fast pyrolysis microwave. By being very much faster than current solutions, we're also able to be much more compact. Our key advantage is that we're all electric and that we're modular. So we're very clean to run, and we're also modular, so we can be deployed on ships, on islands, in villages, and we can also be scaled up to, say, 30 tons per day, 10,000 tons per year quite easily. Currently, we have a 1-ton system in North America. It's in Northern California, just north of San Francisco. It's been in operation for 3 months. We're working with 10 different feedstock suppliers of plastic, and we're creating diesel fuel as well as the beginnings of naphtha for potential upcycling. Our goal is to be at a 1-1-1 rate, that is, process 1 kilogram plastic with 1 kilowatt hour of energy into 1 liter of diesel fuel. We're getting about an 8x energy return, really close to the target of 1-1-1, and we're now ready to scale to the 5-ton systems. We're looking at 2 markets, both the fuel market and repolymerization. The fuel market is a very low sulfur fuel. Because we can scale down, we can serve rural and underdeveloped markets. And with the repolymerization, we're working with alliance members to close that circular economy with naphtha by-out products. Our 5-year vision is to surpass $250 million in annual sales. With several years at that rate, we'll be at about 2,000 systems. To give you an idea of the scale of that, that's enough to process about 1% of the total plastic waste. So there's a big upside to this market. Currently, our progress is we're working with a number of alliance players on recycling. And on the fuel side, we have supply agreements for supplying product feedstock, as well as purchase agreements, and we're working on 3 major plants in North America. Our university partners are University of Minnesota and UC Berkeley LB&L. And we're looking for more involvement from the community. And the way you can get involved, we are seeking a Series B of $10 million and pilot sponsorship of our naphtha upcycling feasibility project. The team is myself and Jason Tanny as co-founders. I recently exited an RF semiconductor using the same wavelengths that we're using for this project. And Jason has been 12 years in the pyrolysis market, probably sold more systems than anybody else for small systems. Dr. Roger Ruan has been doing microwave pyrolysis for biomass for over 12 years, and he greatly accelerates our advance into this space. Thank you for your time. Please feel free to reach out at these contact telephone numbers and email address. I'm happy to work with you and look forward to progress in the future. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being part of today's event. We're actually at our last startup. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to a startup that is literally building the future out of plastic waste. Heidi from ByFusion. Take it away, Heidi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi. I'm the CEO of ByFusion, and we're on a mission to protect the planet by enabling the waste industry to recycle the unrecyclable. Plastic is wreaking havoc on our environment and our waste industry. But you know what? Plastic's not really the problem. The problem is it's just too complicated. There's 7 types of plastic, only 2 can be recycled. Plastic is strong and durable and built to last. It is cheap to manufacture, which is why we have so much of it. And it's really expensive and difficult to sort. Over the last 3 years, we've invested $1.5 million and leveraged decades of experience in technology, industrial design, and construction, and developed a simple industrial strength plastic eating machine that converts all types of plastic waste into a building material called ByBlock. ByBlock is a zero waste, 100% recyclable, reinforceable building material that's designed to work with traditional building materials to meet the structural demands of the job. Our blocker systems are modular and scalable to meet the volume demands of any operation. There's no cleaning, no sorting, no extra processing. There's no additives or fillers. Let's take a look. I mean, imagine eating your yogurt, drinking your beverage, throwing it in the machine, and within minutes, making a ByBlock. building with ByBlock is just as easy. Let's take a look at some applications that we've done. Clearly, anybody can build with ByBlock. And because of that, you're able to speed time to construction exponentially. In addition, ByBlock is compliant with California Section 1350, which means it qualifies for LEED credits and also meets UL's Green Guard standards. 2019 was a really big year for us. Not only did we select a global manufacturing partner, and initiate US manufacturing, we also had some really big wins on the ByBlock side with the pilot builds that you saw. US Innovation Lab construction is underway, which sets us up perfectly for commercialization and rapid market expansion in the coming years. The green building material industry is a $364 billion a year market. So we've got a few competitors, but we've also got some very distinct differentiators. One, our ability to scale. Two, the fact that we don't require any additional aggregates, which means our cost to manufacture and our speed to market is much faster than anybody else. We have an incredible team of diverse leaders with the necessary skills and experience, surrounded by a small army of specialists required to take us to the next level. We are currently seeking our pre-Series A round of 2.1, and we're also looking for pilots for both the machine side as well as additional builds. And of course, we are always really interested in working with our corporate partners on collaborations. Look, this problem isn't going away anytime soon. So let's work together to reshape the future of plastic waste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today and watching these 10 great startups present. It's been truly an honor working with them over the last 3 months, and I'm really looking forward to all of our continued engagement together. So with that, I'd like to actually kind of conclude the startup portions with our startup award winner. This is something that we do with all of our programs. So I'd love to congratulate Jeff Kirshner from Literati. Jeff, are you there?
I am, Matt. Thanks so much.
No problem. So we're very excited to present this award to you. And unfortunately, we couldn't be in person and hand you an actual award. So we got kind of creative this time. So we'd like to present to you the inaugural Einstein Award. So we have this stuffed doll for you as our award. So we'll send you an actual one after this, but it's been great working with you over the last 3 months and seeing how your company has progressed and grown and all the different ideas that you've been able to bring, and all the new initiatives that you're doing with different cities and corporations around the world. So with that, I'd love to turn it over to you for any remarks that you may have.
Well, on behalf of the entire Literati team, thank you so much to you, Alexandra, and the entire team at Plug and Play, and of course, at the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. It's been an honor to participate in this program. And, I think when we first started, nobody had any idea what we were really involved in and what we were really up against, this massive problem that we're all trying to solve. And just coming together with these 9 other companies, along with all the support that the Alliance and Plug and Play bring, has been a really remarkable and inspiring experience. We were honored to be part of it.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeff. I mean, it's been great working with you, and obviously we're going to continue working with you through this time. And with that, this kind of brings us to our next segment, is a fireside chat with Haley, the Global Director of Sustainability from Dow, who's been working with the startups over the last 3 months, and it's going to share some insights that she's gained. So why don't we take it over to Haley. Haley, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and for allowing us to do this, mini fireside chat with you. You've been one of the most active panel members of the US Hub, and we're very excited to kind of hear some of your perspectives on the program and learn a little bit more about what you're doing, how you've been engaging with the startups. So with that, I'd love maybe if you can introduce yourself really quickly.
Sure. So, hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm Haley Lowry, and I lead global sustainability for our packaging and specialty plastics business at Dow. And specifically, I was like, I really want to be on the panel as a member because I'm responsible for our investment strategy for everything that we're doing in the plastic sustainability space. And this would give me a really good insight into what new startups were out there and technologies that we haven't even looked at or considered. So it would really help me shape our pipeline going forward. And we have a responsibility to make Part B investments, and also we want to increase our partnerships. So this is a great way to get involved and really learn what the startups can bring to the table.
That's great. And you know what we've seen today is 10 amazing startups from the US program present some of their solutions. But really, you know, I want to kind of take a step back and ask, have you and your organization worked with startups before, and maybe in like what capacity, if so?
Yeah, so we've started working with some startups several years ago. And I guess I just have to say, like, we're in a space for corporations where all of these solutions to solve plastic waste really require like different types of partnerships, and some that are not convenient. Frankly, they're not comfortable, and they're not really natural either. And so our journey started like 3 years ago when we created something called the Dow Impact Fund. And this was something where we opened up for projects that had an environmental, a social, and a business impact. And anyone throughout the company could really develop a project. They had to have an NGO partner or a startup that they were working with. And those projects would get funding from our foundation because they provided a social and environmental impact, but also business impact. So over the past 3 years, we've spent about $5 million on projects like that. And there have been about 25 projects that have gotten funding, and we've seen some significant, really those have helped shape the pipeline for our recycling projects going forward. So one of those that came from that is the energy bag, which I'll talk a little bit about later, but that's where our journey started, at least.
Yeah, so I've been working with you for the last 5 or 6 months now, really kind of shaping this program in Silicon Valley, working alongside the startups, learning more about the different programs in Dow that you are connecting startups with. And as you mentioned, the Energy Bag program. So, it'd be great if you can share a little bit more about that program with the audience today.
Sure. So I'm going to share just a few slides so that people kind of understand what's going on. But first of all, I think what's really important for Dow is that we want to inspire and create value with solutions to have responsible plastics use, reuse, repurposing, and recycling. And the only way that this is possible is if you have the collection, processing, and in-market. So if you don't have a place for where the plastic can go in an in-market, then likely it's not going to be collected. And if it's not collected, then you may not have a place for it to go. And so really thinking through like how we could pair the startups in each one of those buckets was, how we started approaching, the program here. But for the energy bag, really this is an effort to create all three of those buckets. So, the collection, the processing, and the in-market. And so it's almost like our own mini startup that we worked on with a customer, Hefty or Reynolds. And together we launched something called the Hefty Energy Bag. And I think one of the most exciting things that we're most proud of is this is a really new, innovative way to divert more plastics from landfill. And so far, we have helped divert 1 million pounds of hard to recycle plastic. So these are a lot of times the 3 through 7s that may just go straight to a landfill. We've helped convert that into other types of valuable materials. So really the purpose of the program is finding a way to divert those plastics from landfills. We don't want them ending up in the landfill. And being able to collect them, if you can't collect them at curbside, how can you give another option to consumers? And so really the way that the program works is that consumers receive a hefty energy bag product through the city, just like they would receive a big cart to recycle their products, and they would receive the first hefty energy bag. And in that orange bag, people put anything that can't be curbside collected. And so we've got, a list of products like chip bags or, Capri Sun pouches or things like that, that can't be curbside collected. So those go into the orange bag, the consumers tie them up, put it into their recycling cart. That's picked up by the local haulers, and then that's sent to a local MRF. And then someone pulls the orange bags out of the MRF, and we take those and convert them to other products. And this is really where we found a lot of overlap with many of the startups that were part of this program. Was we need to find places for these valuable materials to go into. And so that can go into, building products or decking or railroad ties or pallets or furniture or, other types of durable products on the recycled side. And then on the recover side, it could go to fuel or chemicals or fuel processing that often could be turned back into a plastic product for feedstock recycling. So those are the few of the mechanics of the program and really how we found ways to pull the startups in today. I mean, we're doing trials with, I think, 3 of the startups from the program where we're taking that energy bag, that orange bag material, and we're testing that in one of their in-market applications to figure out, can that material actually be processed, and there's a specification where it needs to be. So kind of going through some of those details. But it's been really helpful for us to have access to them as well, because we know that we cannot do this alone. And we really need other innovative companies to help us work through that. And I think the last slide is just kind of listing all of the other partners that we have involved in this program. So I mentioned the tonnage diverted from landfills before, but also that we've reached over 500,000 households. And I think this is really an exciting part of our own little mini startup, that we want to really expand this to be nationwide across the US. And so if we can help divert more plastics from the landfills, then we have a better opportunity to making sure that there's not waste in the environment and we're turning it more into valuable products. So that's some of the ways that we're trying to seek together with our customers and with startups and with other corporations. And I hope that helps explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, that was absolutely great. And it was great to hear all the success of the program has already. And we really want to help amplify that as best we can, really take it nationwide, bring in partners from all around the country, and whether it's startups or nonprofits or other organizations to the table, and really inspire a change and really push the needle in diverting a lot of this plastic waste from going into the landfill and being used for something of value. One point I wanted to kind of touch on that you mentioned a little bit at the beginning is some of these partnerships are almost a natural and hard to do. There are a lot of Alliance members that are online right now that may or may not have worked with startups before, maybe worked with them in a very limited capacity. So, what is some advice that you have for those other member companies that are very new to this, but, are very starting to just dip their toe into working with startups?
Yeah, I think, working with lots of different partners, not just startups, that's going to be the only way that we solve this. So I think if you take a step back and realize that we cannot do this alone, and we are going to have to do this through, governments, startups, new innovation companies, things that are just partnerships that are just very different for us. That's how we're going to solve this. And I think you start to wrap your head around, okay, we've got to have relationships or projects that help drive this. The other 2 things that we're not good at as large corporations are scale and risk. Scale from a small aspect of things. We don't do things at small scale, and we do things at big scale. So that we're good at big scale, and startups are really good at small scale, and speed comes with that, right? So we can do things super fast, but we can do things at scale. So I think that's where the bridge comes into play. And then also from a risk tolerance, we often have like a very low risk tolerance, and that also comes with speed. So I think startups can help corporations with projects that we can demonstrate that plastic is valuable. It's too valuable to be lost as waste. It's a valuable resource, and we can start showing those examples of demonstrating that. And hopefully those have a viable business model. If they have a viable business model, it's going to be a business that runs on its own. So I think those are two of the ways that I would just encourage people to get more engaged and involved.
So Haley, you talked about the Hefty Energy Bag program and some of the work that you're doing with the US startups, but how are you going about maybe engaging your global group and inspiring action in those different parts around the world, and maybe engaging with startups around the world as well?
Yeah, so I have a global team, and we're really trying to figure out how to utilize this to build our pipeline across the globe. So even some of the startups in the Silicon Valley program had a connection to Latin America. So I invited, my sustainability director from Latin America, or some of the ones that may come out of the Paris program might have a play in Asia Pacific. And so I think for all of them, we're trying to figure out how they can match in the different geographies around the world and where they fit. The Hefty Energy Bag program is one that is available, is a program that we work on in North America, but we have many other types of programs in each geography. So there might be another fit for a startup there. And one of the other things that I would think about inspiring, like from the corporation side, what we could inspire is really like employee engagement. Employees want to be involved in solving this problem. And something that we had started several years ago was something called a Pulling Our Weight campaign, where every employee was asked to go out and pick out their generation of trash on a daily, on an average of a day, which was like 4 pounds of trash each person generates per day. And then they would go out and pick that up. And so there may be, in the COVID-19 environment, we're not meeting in like huge, massive groups to do big cleanup campaigns, but there might be other ways that we could utilize some of the startups to help inspire our companies to all still do our part and go and pick up the trash. And I realize that this isn't always the solution, just go pick it up. But that's where awareness starts. And when you get awareness inside your corporation of people being like, oh, well, that trash is there. It shouldn't be there. Well, why is it there? Was it designed, in a different way? Like, is it a cap on the top of a bottle that was designed that, could you attach it differently? It gets people really thinking about that. And it gets people thinking about, okay, well, if that is valuable, where can it go? So it really inspires your entire organization to put their heads around solving this problem, and they feel like they're doing something as well too. So those are a few thoughts that I have.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to kind of touch on that you mentioned is, it's not solving the entire problem, but it's solving one part. And I think maybe what's important, and something that obviously you've seen by working with 3 startups for the Hefty Energy Bag program, is there's not just going to be one solution. There has to be many solutions from all around the world, from all different parts of the plastics value chain. And I think inspiring and awareness are really the biggest things right now that are needed in order to really get the ball going, and really everyone getting involved and working together, having an open mind. You mentioned the crowdsource, kind of pickup one. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on that one and the startup that you're working with on that side?
Yeah, I think Literati's done some really cool things where they have the capability to utilize their technology where you go and take a picture of the trash and it helps load that into their system. And I think when we were redesigning the whole Pulling Our Weight campaign program inside our company, we're like, how are we still going to do this? And we can't meet in massive groups. We would bring our customers, we bring competitors, we bring everyone together to really go out and do a big cleanup. And that's where, when we sat down with the team, it just really clicked. And we're like, oh my gosh, we could utilize technology that the startups have, like what Literati has, to still inspire that same action, but on an individual level, of like every time that I go out on a walk, like I could, take a picture of some of the trash that I've picked up, or wait, it's not really trash. I like to call it, resources, some of the resources that I actually pick up. So I think Back to your other point, I think there was a quote that I saw sometime, and it was like, don't do nothing if you can't do everything, so just find a way to do one part, and that is really helpful, and somebody else will do another part, and somebody else will do another part, but don't not do anything just because you can't do everything.
So Haley, I have a little bit of a surprise for you. You've been such a phenomenal panel member for our US hub that, we have a little tradition at Plug and Play. So I'd like to award you the Corporate Partner Award for
thanks.
the hub. So unfortunately we cannot be, in person. So we have a little award here. So we got this little one for you.
I've always wanted one of those.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get this to you. I'm actually kidding. So we do have a little bit more of an official one.
Nice.
So we'll give you both. How about that?
Okay, good. I want the other one.
So we'll figure out how to get this to you. But on behalf of all Plug and Play, I want to say it's been absolutely great working with you over the last 5 months. For this hub, we're not really slowing down, but we're actually going to be increasing even more. And I look forward to, continuing our work together in the Hefty Energy AI program, maybe some other programs in Dow that startups can be engaged with, that Plug and Play can be engaged with, and just, working together with everyone to really drive innovation and impact around the world. So Haley, thank you again so much. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Haley, for such wonderful insights into working with startups and the different projects that you're doing with the startups that are part of the US program. And I'm very excited to see how you work with the startups that are in our other international programs that are either going on right now or will be starting later this year. So with that, I'd like to again thank everyone for being part today. A special shout out to Mike, Joe, Jacob, the 10 amazing startups for giving their presentations and sharing more about their very inventive solutions for tackling our global plastic waste problem. Haley for the wonderful insights again, and to our crew behind the scenes at Plug and Play, Allison and Alexandra, who would not be able to do this without them. Lastly, I'd like to leave you all with one note regarding a special support fund during these difficult times. There's a lot of different groups and a lot of different support funds that are out there, but we want to promote one that is really getting impacted during these times. And this is the Waste Collector COVID-19 Support Fund. For those of you who may not know, plastic waste is done in the streets by people in third world countries or people around the world. And this is their sole source of income, and they're not able to really, do that during this time. So what Haley and a few of her colleagues have done is worked with the Global Giving Organization to set up a specific fund for waste collectors, especially in third world countries, that you can help support. So please feel free to visit the website as shown or email Nicole, their corporate partnership manager at the Global Giving Foundation, and I'm sure she can work with you in whatever way you feel is best. So with that, again, I'd like to thank everyone so much for joining us today. It's been absolutely great working with the startups and all the panel members, and we really look forward to the future collaboration with these startups. And again, stay safe, and thank you so much for joining us. Take care.